Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to all those who are here in person and to people who are viewing it online. So Dori has given you a brief introduction about the Education Partner Program. I believe this is one of the most talked about programs wherein most RCICs would want to connect with DLIs in Canada and try and send students over. So international education sector in Canada has actually grown by leaps and bounds over the last decade. And as per the reports released by CBIE, we have already surpassed the targets that we had set for ourselves in terms of international student enrollments for 2022 in 2017 itself. So that's how big the international education sector in Canada is. So what Education Partner Program is all about? As Dory explained, Education Partner Program is an effort wherein CAPIC would want to connect eligible RCICs with DLIs within Canada, which means that CAPIC would act as a conduit. CAPIC would act as a bridge between the RCICs and the schools, the DLIs, I would say. So how does that work? So let's have a brief look at it. So what is the Education Partner Program? The Education Partner Program is a service which has been introduced by CAPIC for its members. Just like any other service, you have the IMI Forum, you have My Consultants, and you have so many other services that CAPIC provides. So this is another service which has been added by CAPIC for its members. So under this, as I said, that we aim to connect the DLIs with RCICs. So when I say that we aim to connect DLIs with RCICs or RCICs with DLIs, I mean that CAPIC would get into an agent agreement with the DLIs within Canada, wherein all our members, through that agent agreement that CAPIC has with that DLI, would be able to recruit international students for that particular DLI. So CAPIC would be the agent, right? And RCICs would be able to recruit students through that agent agreement for the DLI in Canada, right? So that is how we aim to connect them. And also, as I said, that we'll be the conduit for the recruitment of international students. All students would be recruited through the CAPIC agreement that we have with DLIs. So we determined that there are four main stakeholders when we talk about studying in Canada for international students. The first stakeholders are the DLIs, the Designated Learning Institutes. So what interest would they have in connecting with the Education Partner Program? So the DLIs, by connecting with CAPIC, which has close to 2,000 RCICs, would get access to global markets, markets which are which would have major student recruitment initiatives going, like you have markets all across the world which would recruit students for DLIs in Canada. So just by signing one agent agreement, all DLIs would get access to those 2,000 RCICs that we have, and they could increase the international student numbers with it. So that is where the DLIs set to gain. The second stakeholders are the RCICs. When the RCICs, through the CAPIC agent agreement, connect with the DLIs, right, they'll be able to get the agent commission straight from that DLI. That will be routed through CAPIC, and I'll explain during my presentation how we would do that. So the RCIC is set to gain by getting the commission by placing international students in the DLIs. So RCICs are the second stakeholders. The third stakeholders are the international students. So what we have realized over the years is that international students probably are one of the most vulnerable sectors who could probably be given false dreams. They could be given false promises. You can go to Canada, it's a cakewalk and all that stuff, right? That advice would probably come from people who do not have any information about studying in Canada, who have never set foot on the Canadian soil, who do not know the education system in Canada. But when a student would connect with an RCIC, right, I'm sure that he would be able to get the most ethical advice, most genuine advice on studying in Canada. So that's where the international student sets to gain, right? And the fourth and the last stakeholder in this education partner program is CAPIC itself. So CAPIC would be able to add a service for its members. So it's a win-win, a profitable situation for all the stakeholders, the DLIs, the RCICs, the students, and CAPIC itself. So that's where we stand. So just a quick slide, like, why is international education important in Canada? As I said, that there are close to 500,000 study permit holders in Canada at the end of 2017, right, which is a very, very big number. So we've surpassed the number in 2017, which was set for 2022. This is as per the CBIE report. And Canada is the first choice for international students from across the globe. That is as per the Times Higher Education. So, they surveyed students across the globe, and they found that 62% of the students would want to choose Canada as their study destination. That's how important the Canadian education market is. The other thing is that Canada ranks 8th in terms of international student enrollments. We've been climbing up the ladder, right? And we hope that in the coming few years, Canada would even rise higher than this, right? And that is as per the UNESCO report. Then, international education sector is such a huge sector in Canada in terms of the revenue that we generate. So it's close to a $15 billion industry within Canada. So that's probably the 4th largest industry in Canada. I think it's after crude oil, gold, etc. So this is the 4th largest industry in Canada. So since this is such a huge market, right, we would probably want to bring more professionalism into this sector by bringing in RCICs to recruit international students for DLIs. So that's what we aim at. But how do you participate in this particular program? So there are a few requirements that you have to be aware of before you could start recruiting international students for DLIs through KPIC. You have to be an RCIC in good standing of ICCRC to participate in this program. This is the first and the foremost requirement to participate in the Education Partner Program. The second is that you have to be a member of KPIC in good standing. The third is that when you log into your KPIC Connect, you'll have to go into the dashboard and you'll have to fill out an EPP information form because our members are our strengths, right? So we would want to know where our members are from, which countries they would recruit students from, so that we could relay that to the DLIs who would want to connect with KPIC. So this is our strength, this is where our members come from, right? And these are the additional qualifications that these members hold, and this is how we'll be able to recruit more international students from you, from the markets that you want. Then DLIs would sign an agent agreement with KPIC. KPIC would further sign an agent agreement with all RCICs who would wish to participate in the Education Partner Program. So we'll lay down the terms and conditions, right? We'll sign on the dotted line, and that's how you start recruiting students for DLIs. So what are the advantages for this? So as I said, that members would receive the commission, right? Full commission from the DLIs. And KPIC is a not-for-profit organization. So by launching this initiative, the Education Partner Program, we don't intend to make any profit out of it. But we would want to cover our administrative costs, our cost associated with running this particular program. So let's say the agent commission set by a particular DLI is 15% of the tuition fee of the first year. So on an average, if the commission is about 15% and the international fees is about 15,000 Canadian dollars, so that's about 2,200 Canadian dollars, right? Or on an average, let's take for an easier calculation, 2,000 Canadian dollars as the commission. KPIC would keep 250 Canadian dollars as the cost of running this program per student and release the remaining commission to the RCIC. So 1,750 is what the RCIC would get, and 250 is what KPIC would keep as the administrative cost for running this program. And this is across the board. If you recruit one student, it remains 250. If you recruit 100 students, it remains 250. No matter how many students you would recruit, this is the flat rate of $250 across the board. Then, as I told you, that students get ethical advice through RCICs on studying in Canada. I don't see anybody giving more ethical advice because RCIC is a profession which is very highly regulated by ICCRC, right? And the chances of hoodwinking a student into a particular college, right, and telling him false things about studying in Canada would not happen through an RCIC. That's what I assume. Then the schools get access to global markets through KPIC members. I've already told you about that. So as I say, the other thing is professional visa application services for the students. Now, study permit is probably a little complex, right? People who have not been associated with the immigration industry, who are not RCICs, right, would not have the in-depth knowledge of how the study permit application would actually work. So when a student would connect with an RCIC, he would get the perfect, I would assume, a perfect picture of how a study permit application is filed, right? And the RCIC would file it for him. So this would probably increase the student visa approval rate, right, for Canada as a whole, right, and for that particular DLI as well. And also, it would also mean increased retention rates for schools. Schools generally encounter a lot of requests on change of college, change of program, but when the particular student has been correctly guided, properly guided, we believe that the requests for change of college, change of program would come down for a particular DLI. And then better documentation at every stage. There are two stages I would name here. The first is the letter of acceptance or the admission letter stage when we apply to a particular DLI. So an RCIC would know what documentation is required to get the letter of acceptance or the admission letter, right? What are the eligibility requirements? What is the IELTS score and all that stuff? So proper documentation could be prepared so that the letter of acceptance could be issued, and the college would be happy by getting the documentation in a proper format in one go. Then the second stage is the study permit application stage. Again, documentation is of prime importance, and an RCIC would know how to file the study permit application. So again, documentation would improve at that stage as well. And then collectively, we meet the targets easily. Many of you would have connected with the DLIs, and you would know that they lay yearly targets on recruiting students. So some schools would have that you have to recruit at least 10 students, 20 students, whatever, for a particular DLI in order to maintain the agent agreement. But when we come through KPIC, when we come collectively as KPIC, so RCIC A would recruit 3 students, RCIC B would recruit 5 students, C would recruit X number of students. So collectively we meet the targets and we are able to maintain our agent agreement with a particular DLI. So these were some of the advantages that we have. Now, where can I find more information on it? So you'll have to log into your KPIC Connect, right? Walk into your dashboard. You'll have an education partner program card on it. Click on that card. You'll get the EPP information form on it, and you'll also get some FAQs on the EPP program. So you can have a look at it, and that's where you get more information. Or when you log into your KPIC Connect, there's a menu on the left-hand side, a drop-down menu. You can go to that menu as well, and you can reach the Education Partner Program portal from there as well. Or you can also mail me your concerns to kunal@kpic.ca, and my phone number is mentioned here, and my extension is 30. So that's what I had to share with you in a nutshell. So if you have any questions.
Thank you. Actually, I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, KPIC will have contract with DLIs. Have we done one yet?
Oh yeah, I'll come to
Okay.
that.
So how receptive are they?
Okay. So
Okay.
that's question one.
Question number one. Okay.
Do you want me to answer one by one?
No, let me go through all.
Okay.
Then you can pick and choose. Now, the market for students is all overseas. Okay. And we are sitting here in Canada. How do we really access that market? Is KPIC going to promote overseas? Is it KPIC going to encourage people or students outside by promoting our services?
Should I answer your questions one by one? Because
Okay,
I'll forget,
sure, go ahead. All right.
I'll forget
No problem.
the
Okay.
questions, right?
Let's start with the first one.
The first question was, have we signed any agent agreement as of now? So the Education Partner Program is in its infancy. It's just been about 2 months that we have launched this particular program. It had been in the works for about 2.5 years before the board approved it. And we've been working on it. We've been talking to major industry stakeholders, which includes the consortium members, which are CBIE, Languages Canada, CAPESI, Universities Canada, etc. And they are very receptive of this particular program. And we are also talking to DLIs in Canada, and we are on the verge of having our first contract very soon. And as soon as that happens, we'll announce it to all our members.
Okay. All right.
Well, soon is a very, I would say, a term which cannot be defined. So as soon as it happens, we'll definitely announce it to all our members. But yes, we are in the advanced stages of talks with various schools. we'll definitely announce it.
Okay, then the next question was in terms of markets. Most of the markets are overseas, and it's controlled by agencies like IDP, and big, large corporations actually control this market. So I don't know how you think that CAPEC, I'm saying that because one of the shareholders, stakeholders, will actually compete with organizations to bring members or clients to us. Can you?
So as far as CAPIC is concerned, right, CAPIC would provide members with the agent agreement, right, but CAPIC would not have the wherewithal to actually go into that particular market and promote. But we assume that RCICs, by the virtue of their profession, right, and most of them by their backgrounds and connections to their home countries, would be able to get the ball rolling. So once the ball starts rolling and the first few students come in, the word of mouth would spread, and that particular RCIC would be able to recruit more students. But CAPIC can provide assistance in the form of getting the DLIs to participate maybe with the RCIC in some seminars or events, right? How many of them would do that and how often they do that, that will be dependent upon the individual DLI.
But I'm saying that if CAPIC is collecting money, part of the membership or part of the fees CAPIC is collecting, would it not be wise to put some seed money into promoting overseas, because that's where the market is?
No,
that
I
not
would say
make
that
sense?
CAPIC is not trying to make money out of it. CAPIC is trying to provide it as a service. And we have talked to many members out here, right? Most of them would have connections, right? Or would have people back home, right? Who would be able to recruit for them. So we'll not be going into individual markets to promote EPP.
One last question. Now, the student visas are issued by the Canadian visa, immigration services overseas. Would that be not an approach by CAPIC to actually get in touch with various government offices across the globe, saying that CAPIC is now actually providing this kind of a service with the licensed immigration consultants, or who are actually under ICCRC control? Would that not be your fifth, partner in this venture?
IRCC is totally separate, right?
I don't mean that.
We cannot,
I'm saying
we cannot
role,
influence,
CAPEX.
but yes, we can always relay it to them. And I think we are in the process of relaying it to them, that we have already started this particular process. But we'll not be able to influence the decision-making system in any way, neither with the DLI, neither with IRCC.
I don't mean in influencing. I mean educating.
Yes, we are in the process
that,
of...
That at least you are saying that in
yes.
one of the advantages that we can provide better service. At least we are controlled, we are through ICCRC that we can do that, right?
We are in the process of relaying it to them, but that's where it stops. Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions, please? Yeah, I think at the back.
Thank you. How do you think that's going to impact the overseas education agents?
That's a very deep question, right? How is it going to impact? So what happens is, when the RCICs would probably be there in recruiting students, we hope that it'll help the students, right? And I don't want to say it, but if there are any ghost agents, right, who are probably promoting themselves, right, as the genuine agents, right, they would probably have a pushback with this particular program coming into the market, right? And that's what we assume, and that's what may happen, right? We cannot guarantee it. We are more concerned on providing services for CAPIC members, and that's what we have at the back of our mind.
What about the student recruiting staff at the various educational institutions?
I couldn't understand your question.
Okay, so different universities, or I guess all the universities, have student recruitment reps on staff in Canada that go and do overseas recruiting. How is that going to affect them? Because like they can do the recruiting, they still need immigration help, and a lot of those representatives work with the education agents overseas.
So there's one part to your question, and the other I'll add on my own, right? The first part is how are the reps going to help, right? So every school, every institution would have reps who would go into international markets and help promote the programs and the college of that particular DLI, right? So we would try and include this particular clause in our agreement with schools that we might need some representation, right? Let's say X number of representations from this particular DLI to go and promote that program or that school in these markets, right? But what that X amount would be, right, and whether those DLIs would agree, right, that is when we sign the agreement, that's what's gonna happen, that's when it's gonna happen. Now, the part that I'm gonna add on my own is that how is this gonna happen, right? The part that I probably would add in my slide, should have added in my slide is that how are the DLIs and the RCICs gonna communicate? So KPIC would create an IT interface wherein the RCICs through that IT interface would be able to get in touch with the DLIs. So any request that an RCIC has should be routed through that IT interface and it will reach the DLI. And the DLI, if they have to reply to a particular concern from an RCIC, they would use that IT interface that KPIC has created to reach the RCIC, right? So we would probably not want all RCICs, which we have about 2,000 of them, to individually contact the DLIs, which may overwhelm them. So that's how we aim to operate. Right? Yeah, that's what I had to say. So any other questions that you have? Yeah.
So I just want to ask you about the advantage of actually using KBIC compared to the other recruiters. Since some of them, they actually provide some other services, let's say going and receiving the students when he comes to the country, or just providing housing like for free for the first month, let's say, like some other. So how can I see that happening through KBIC? My second question
Should
would
I
be...
answer them one by one?
Yeah, sure.
It
Go ahead,
actually
please.
helps me.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So as far as how would it help KPIC, right, and all that stuff, right? So I would want to say that the DLIs would want to connect with KPIC because just by signing one agent agreement, they get access to 2,000 RCICs who have offices all across the major student recruitment countries, right? That's how it stands to help the DLIs, right? As far as the services by other agents are concerned, there are many RCICs who provide pre-departure and post-arrival services, right? And that is something specific to an RCIC, whether he would want to provide those extra services to the student or not. So it's a very individual question, right? Any RCIC, it's all dependent upon him. What kind of infrastructure would he have back home? What kind of infrastructure he would have here in Canada to assist the student coming into Canada, right? So, but RCICs are free to do that, and there are many RCICs who are actually doing that. Yeah.
Okay. And for the second one, actually, you're saying that there's 4 different stages, and KBIC would be the last one, like
Stakeholders, yeah.
our stakeholders. So, is there any specific service that KBIC will be doing for us to just encourage us even to go with these programs, such a program like that, and pay these $250 to be the mediator for us?
So this in itself is a service, the Education Partner Program, which KPIC has introduced, right? And as far as helping members go and promote this particular program, and I think you also asked about helping members promote this particular program. On our IT interface, we'll also be having a section which would have the schools that we have a tie-up with, where those schools are located, right? What programs there are for that particular DLI, right? What are the entrance requirement for that particular program in that particular DLI? So that will be kind of a ready reckoner for RCICs, right? And this should help RCICs who are new to international student recruitment or who would need more information on recruiting international students. So I would say this is the other service that the RCICs would get from KPIC.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. If you have any more questions.
We have some questions from the web, and one of those would ask, If we go for EPP, then do we have to cancel our existing contracts with the DLIs? Because it's assuming that some of them already have ties with the DLIs.
Yeah, that's a very legitimate question, right? If you have an existing agreement with an X school and you would want to have, and KPIC has an agreement with Y school, would you have to cancel those X agreement? No, right? You can keep recruiting for the schools that you have on your own, right? And you can also use the KPIC DLI institutions that we have a tie-up with. So you can club both of them. You don't have to forego any one of them. So you can club both of them and you can keep on recruiting your institutions as well. And you can recruit for the KPIC institutions as well.
What if for the same institution, you already have a personal tie with the school and EPP comes in?
So you can use your own personal ties, right? And you don't have to pay KPIC for that. But then you'll be using your own contact in that particular school, right? You'll not be using the KPIC interface to send the documents or receive the LOA, letter of acceptance.
Okay, thank you for that. And one more question from the web. So how many partner agreements does KPIC have to date with DLIs? Do we have any?
Yeah, I think I've just answered that question. So the education partner program, I'll repeat again, is in its infancy, right? And we are just 2 months old, right? And it had been in the works for about 2.5 years. So we are working with the DLIs and we are working with other industry stakeholders to get agreements on board. And we are close to having the first agreements. And as soon as they happen, we'll announce it to all our members.
Thank you.
I think there's one more question.
Okay, one quick question. Would we be able to see the contract before you sign with the DLI?
Sorry?
Would be able to see the contract before you sign with the DLI because we will be part of that contract.
Yes, the contracts that are generic in nature, we don't dictate the contracts that come from schools, right? But we'll show you the agreement that you will sign with KPIC.
Because we'd like to know our responsibilities and obligations in,
So
in
your
that contract.
obligations and responsibilities would be listed in the agent agreement that you would sign with KPIC. Right?
Right,
Because you're
that's what
not
I mean.
signing an agreement with the school, you're signing an agreement with KPIC, and KPIC is signing an agreement with the schools.
Right, okay. Is that available now or not yet?
The ones from the schools, right? As soon as we sign, we'll have them, and the one that you'll be signing with KPIC, we have a rough draft of it. We are finalizing it, and once it is done, we can share that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I'll be available here if you have any more questions. I can answer them individually. Thank you.